everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Obsession. Today, we're at Grimey's in Nashville, Tennessee with Dave Mustaine, frontman of Megadeth. Dave had an hour to wander the aisles of this iconic record shop with the almost impossible task of finding his top 5 vinyls. Now it's time to do a deep dive on Dave Mustaine's top 5 right here on Vinyl Obsession, the podcast. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Obsession, the podcast. I'm your host, Eric Young. Today, we've got Dave Mustaine, the co-founder and frontman of the American thrash metal band Megadeth. The band formed in Los Angeles in 1983, and Dave is the singer, guitar player, and primary songwriter. Megadeth earned a Grammy Award in 2017 for Best Metal Performance and has had 6 platinum certified albums. Dave Mustaine is a force to be reckoned with. Iconic guitar player, iconic man, iconic musician, and he's picked out his top 5. Not an easy thing to do, Dave.
Not here, no. Great selection here. Yeah.
Good, nice selection.
Yeah.
I was kind of, listening and hearing some of the amazing stories you're telling, some of the stuff from when you were a young kid and how your memories from that. So why don't we go through the list of the top 5, talk about the albums a little bit more deeply, and get some of the other cool stories on them.
Sure.
Vinyl number 1.
One of the first records I picked, any self-respecting metal fan that knows anything about Dave Mustaine or Megadeth or Metallica for that matter knows how important Diamond Head was. They were called the natural successors to Led Zeppelin and NME. I mean, that to me that's quite a compliment. So I loved the music because it was riffs and it's not chords. American songwriters were doing a lot of chord writing, and the European and predominantly the people in the United Kingdom were coming up with that riff. And a riff is simply something that is a melody that is played over and over and over and over again. So it has to be really good, or it becomes this monotonous droning. So Diamond Head was one of the first bands that I saw that played music that I understood, that I wanted to play. And when I was in Metallica was when we were basically discovering Diamond Head the most. Lars had spent a lot of time with the guys in Diamond Head. And this was such an influential band to me and to the guys in Metallica that there's 7 songs on the back of this record. And on side A, it's Lightning to the Nations, The Prince, and Sucking My Love. And we played The Prince, we played Sucking My Love. And on side B, it's Am I Evil, Sweet and Innocent, It's Electric, and Helpless. And we played Am I Evil, we played It's Electric, and we played Helpless. There's 5 songs off of this record that we were playing in Metallica, and a lot of people thought those were original songs because, we weren't rightly going out there and explaining to everybody, hey, these songs are great, and you're probably going to think they're ours, and we're not going to tell you that. We're going to give credit to where credit's due. Nah, we're gonna be quiet and make you think we're really great, and so that's kind of how Diamond Head came on my radar and why I like these guys. And the singer for Diamond Head that made up all of these great songs in the beginning was a guy named Sean Harris, and Sean and Brian don't get along anymore. For some reason, I think Sean thought his mom was going to be a good manager, and she had helped run the band, and that was it. It's kind of like in Spinal Tap. Oh, there's somebody in the organization.
The inside man.
Yeah.
Vinyl number 2.
Another record I picked was Iron Maiden Killers. I had this friend of mine that was working at Musicland, and she would trade me new records for dime bags of pot.
That's an even trade.
Yeah, it's about $10 a record, yep. Right? So I'm a pretty entrepreneurial
Maybe
guy.
Maybe the most rock and roll transaction of all time, Dave, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. $10 to start all this. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's awesome.
So anyways, I digress. Yep. I got this Maiden record, and I remember pretty much the same thing like the next record I'm going to talk about. When I dropped this record onto the turntable, it was really mind-altering because, I hadn't heard anything like Maiden. Maiden for me was pretty much what I was looking for unbridled energy and songs that are kind of like the feeling you get when you listen to Judas Priest's Ripper. Beginning, it started off with Ides of Wrath, and there's a lot of things that they talk about, kind of like Alan Parsons, the producer for the Pink Floyd records, and his record, Tales of Mystery and Imagination. The songs are Edgar Allan Poe stories that he put to music.
Now, I know you were talking upstairs about the mascot. You guys have one. A lot of metal bands. How does that start? How do they come up with Eddie? How do you come up with that?
I don't know how they came up with Eddie, but I imagine that they've had kind of the same thing, just felt like they needed to have something that symbolized the band.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing. And like other kind of genres of music don't do that, but a lot of thrash metal, heavy metal bands had that. And I think it's iconic. I can remember having an Iron Maiden t-shirt with Eddie on it and an Eddie poster flying a plane on my wall when I was a kid. And I just thought it was the coolest. Cool. Yeah. Ace's High. Yeah. And I can't, I just thought it was the coolest thing. And I didn't know why. It's such a cool thing. It's such a massive part of rock and roll.
It is. And, when you look at other bands that have had mascots, a lot of them are hit and miss. You look at the mascot that Slayer had, the Wehrmacht guy, people liked that.
You told a story upstairs about you going as Eddie for Halloween. Yeah. Now, I mean, you gave a bunch of the details, but I definitely have to know more about this. How old are you? It's Halloween. You decide to dress up as Eddie. Yeah. Some extracurricular activities happen. Yeah. You get arrested. Yeah. We don't have to go into that, but what is it like walking in, being locked up in a jail, dressed as Eddie?
I got to tell you, they gave me plenty of space to sleep in there.
Somehow you're the weirdest guy there.
Yeah, I can imagine so. They're looking like that. What happened was it was Halloween, and Iron Maiden was just a new band, and I was that guy that always showed up that, had that little something extra that people wanted to hang around. And we're walking down the street across from the high school that I went to, and one of my friends had this novel idea that he would steal a plant. I had no idea this was even happening. I was so dumb. I get even dumber as the story goes by. So let me tell you, he jumps over the fence and he unearths this redwood of a plant and wraps it up with a sheet, and he's walking down the road with this thing, and it's so long that it's kind of bending in the air while he walks with it, like a big long pole vault, right? And he's got it covered up with the sheet, and I'm way behind him because I'm thinking, this is not cool, man. I'm drunk, what am I doing? All of a sudden, a squad car pulls over and grabs him, and I see him, and I'm going, poor. And I'm getting ready to leave, and the cop goes, and like some rescue hound, I went trotting up to the cop car and was in handcuffs before I knew it.
Oh, jeez. Full Eddie costume.
And I said, why are you handcuffing me? And he said, because you're getting arrested. And I said, why am I getting arrested? And he said, because you stole this pot plant. And I said, what pot plant? And then when I saw what was underneath the sheet, I was just thinking, God, I wish you would have done this better. There was so much pot there. And that's all I kept thinking of. You blew it. We could have,
That's worth 20 or 30 records right there.
Yeah.
Broke it down.
Yeah, probably. But and they didn't press any charges. That's why I think there probably isn't any record of photos of me, because I know for sure by now that people would have
been out there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Or we could have just called it Cougar Camp. That's a whole nother thing,
That's
right?
a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Obsession, the podcast. Today, we've got Dave Mustaine. All right, what's the next album? Vinyl number 3.
Next album, jeez, it's almost bedtime. ACDC, Let There Be Rock. So this is the very first record I got from my girl over at the record store. And I went home And, like I said, I'd been listening to UFO and I thought that was really great stuff, but my world had not been completely rocked yet. I had never had my world rocked. And when this record came out, it was the first time. And it hasn't happened since very often. It happened when Appetite for Destruction came out. It happened for us with Countdown. Happened for Metallica with the Black Record. Happened for Soundgarden with Loud Love. These are all bands that have singers that have voices, and have something. I knew when I heard this that these guys were going to be massive. And, I'm just a kid at the time, so I don't know that I've got this gift to be able to hear music and know the bands that are going to be making it and the bands that won't.
Yep.
And
but you knew that was something special.
This is
first time you heard it.
Yeah, absolutely. This was probably the purest, most rawest form of speed and adrenaline that a person could possibly ever get without physically ingesting any kind of a substance.
Yep.
So, I loved this record. I remember I became such an ACDC fan that I had every version of every record you could possibly get, every different release, different versions of the same exact album, just because the song order is mixed up. I was in.
Yep.
And the last time that I did anything with ACDC, we did this tour with them. And, ACDC doesn't have to pay anybody to tour with them, so they paid us $5,000 a show. And we ended up going almost $200,000 in the hole to do this. And
ACDC is a band, I was drawn to them immediately too, the first time I heard them. And I've always wanted to have one of their songs as my walkout music for wrestling. And it's never happened because it costs money and it's, they don't want to use it. But if you say Dave Mustaine was a pro wrestler, or maybe you're in some big jiu-jitsu match and you get to choose any song, could be one of your own, could be one from ACDC, could be one from Diamond Head, anybody. What's Dave Mustaine's walkout music?
Hummingbird by C.C. Croft.
That's a great choice. That's a great choice.
I don't know.
That's a good answer. It's a good answer. For me, I always wanted it to be Hell's Bell. The ACDC song, it's perfect walkout music. As soon as you hear it, you're fired up. The adrenaline starts pumping. That's an amazing choice, an amazing album. All right, what's the next one?
Cat Stevens. No, not Cat Stevens.
Seals and Crofts.
Seals and Crofts, yeah. Cat Stevens changed his name, right? Yusuf.
Yeah, Cat Stevens is easier to say for Americans.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Well, he was a big sex symbol in the '60s and '70s, and I guess he quit, and then he tried to come back and make a new record under his new name, and people forget, and John Cougar Mellencamp, right? John Mellencamp. Yep. John Cougar Mellencamp. Yep. The one he didn't try is Cougar Mellencamp.
Yeah.
Who he could have just called it Cougar Camp, and that's a whole nother thing, right?
Yeah. It's a whole other ball.
It's an after show. Does your dad listen to this one?
Yeah, he does. It's out. It's out at the top 5.
I don't like you anymore.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Final Obsession, the podcast. And today, we've got Dave Mustaine. All right, what do we got there? Final number 4.
Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy, yeah. I liked this album for so many reasons. What they say that this is supposedly from, there was a path that went underwater from the Great Britain island over to the Irish island. One of my favorite songs that's on this record was Dancing Days. I remember when Led Zeppelin came around, it was the last time that they toured while John Bonham was alive, and I had heard the song Remains the Same live album, and I thought, these guys aren't playing good anymore. Who am I to say I'm just some little wet behind the ears guitar playing kid that's just starting, and Jimmy's the Dark Prince. I had my reasons, and he wasn't playing good, so I didn't go. Great record, love this record, love this band. It's funny though, I've never really been able to make a connection with Jimmy. We've talked several times, and I know he's a friendly person, but I've just never been able to just connect with him.
Connect with the music though. Led Zeppelin's
love
amazing.
Love the music.
Is his guitar playing, Jimmy, is that something that drew
Great
you to
guitar playing, a lot of different layering of guitars.
Yeah.
And as far as songwriting is concerned, there's several songwriters in that band. We did a cover of a song called Out on the Tiles, which was written by the drummer, of all people. And it was a very strange song, had really weird time signature. So that was part of the challenge, to do the song and not to mix up the song. It was the fact that the time signature was so bizarre.
All I need from you is all your love.
Led Zeppelin was my dad's favorite band.
Yeah.
He absolutely loved them. I grew up listening
Thanks
to
a lot.
them. So, yeah. All right, what's the next one, Dave? Vinyl number 5.
All right. It's my Kitty record. Does your dad listen to this one?
Yeah, he does. It's out. It's out at the top 5.
I don't like you anymore. He kissed me on the top of my head, and I was like, all right, that ain't cool. They felt like a dog.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Obsession, the podcast. This is Dave Mustaine's Vinyl Pit.
All right. It's my Kitty record. Does your dad listen to this one?
Yeah, he does. It's out. It's out at the top 5.
I don't like you anymore.
Vinyl number 5. What's this is Def Leppard, right?
All right, Def Leppard, Pyromania. When I first heard Def Leppard, the record that I liked was the On Through the Night record. They had the song Rock Brigade. And that was just the song that kind of summed up our little group of guys. We hung out, what we were doing, what our hopes were. Nobody knew what was going to happen at the time. Nobody knew this was going to last or even make it.
Watch out for the Rock Brigade. Rock Brigade. Look out for the Rock Brigade.
For some crazy reason, we got lucky and made it. But listening to the On Through the Night record, and those first songs I played in my band Panic before I was in Metallica. There was a song called Wasted we played, the aforementioned Rock Brigade we played. It Could Be You was one of the ones we played, and It Could Be You was a very bizarre song. And I think that kind of helped influence our song Chosen Ones, because it's a kind of a weird time signature like that too.
We are the chosen ones. Giving most. Rock of the dead. Why Jesus love?
They had a guy named Pete Willis. They let this guy Pete go because he was a drinker, and that's what the rumors said. And I thought he was a great guitar player, because listening to Steve and Pete play together, the two styles conflicted and complemented at the same time. The two styles, if they're both the same, one of them's unnecessary. And I've always said, if you and me are exactly the same, one of us is unnecessary, and it ain't gonna be me, it's gonna be you.
Yep.
Pyromania was the last record that I listened to from Def Leppard for a really long time. It just kept getting more and more away from the riff. And for me, the riff is what the song's all about. You can tell when guys start writing ballads, the riff starts to go away.
Right.
Slang, jingle, jingle, sploing, plunk, plunk, plunk. And when you're known for going,
Is that sound and that style, that's what draws you to them early on?
the early stuff,
Yeah.
yeah. And I often fantasize about talking to the guys in Def Leppard and saying, look, let's go out together, but you guys can't play anything past hysteria, okay?
They gotta come on.
Yeah, because then everybody will be stoked. You won't play Love Bites or anything like that, and
Right.
you play all the heavy stuff that I know you can play, that I love.
Yep.
Because Joe's a great singer, and
Yep.
that first record was so cool. I met Joe at a benefit recently, and he gave me a hug, and I'm 6 foot, and he's much bigger than I am.
Oh, wow, tough guy.
He kissed me on the top of my head, and I was like, all right, that ain't cool. They felt like a dog.
Two rock legends embracing each other.
There's no real way to tell that story and come out, walking out.
It's still kind of a cool story.
It is kind of cool.
Dave, that's an amazing top 5, man.
Thanks.
It was really cool to be here in Grimes with you for your first time, kind of walking the aisle, seeing that. Amazing stories. Today was an amazing day for me. I hope you enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're doing, working on right now you can share with the people?
We've got an action-packed year, a little bit in the neighborhood of 8 months booked for touring. That's going to be fun. We've got a couple really great bands I got my eyes on that I want to talk to about going out with us. And
exciting news, man. Yeah, fingers crossed for all of us.
You got it.
All right, guys, that was Vinyl Obsession, the podcast. That's Dave Mustaine. I'm Eric Young. He's obsessed. I'm obsessed. We'll see you guys later.